Hello everyone. I want to introduce to you something that was a big passion of mine, a hobby of mine, something I found very exciting, something I found very interesting and relaxing, and that was coin collecting. So I'm going to be starting a series about my coin collection. I'm going to be talking about some of the history behind the coins, how I got started, what I got started with. So please sit back, relax, and stay tuned for this series of my coin collection. Welcome to part one in the series of my coin collection. We're going to be starting out with cents, pennies, and these are some of the coins that I actually first started to collect. I found some of them in circulation, and whatever I saw, I put them aside. And you know, when I first started to collect, you actually saw a number of these in circulation, so I just put them aside, and if you're actually lucky enough today, you may still find them. I'm going to go through some of these. And I'm going to start out with the very first year in which they were minted. And this is a 1909 Lincoln cent. And this was minted by Victor D. Brenner. And if you look very closely on the reverse side of the coin, right on the bottom, very, very small letters, right there, it says VDB. Stands for Victor D. Brenner. This was actually a controversial coin because there was talk that he already got credit as far as being paid to do the design, and the initials therefore weren't necessary. This was a very popular coin, obviously, because the wheat cent itself was minted from 1909 to 1958. So that's 67 years, and after that, the Lincoln cent itself still went on, as far as I know, to present day, so it was a very popular coin. So I'm going to go through some more of these. Here's another one. See, here's a 1909 right here, and they didn't make them all with the VDB initial. See right here, this is a 1909, same as the other one I showed you before, but see on the bottom, there's no VDB. So I'm going to move on to some other ones that I have. And the one you see here, this is an uncirculated coin. These are more harder to find. You can see the condition is just completely different than the other ones. Just in beautiful condition. This is a coin that's never been circulated. As you can see, there's no wear. Can't see any noticeable wear on it myself, so this will be considered uncirculated condition. It's a 1944 S, which stands for San Francisco Mint. That's where this was minted. Here's another one. 1958 D. D stands for Denver. As I said, these are wheat cents. Basically distinguished by these two wheat symbols on the side. Here's another one. It's 1953. What an S mint mark. Now, these are really interesting. These pennies that you're looking at are made of steel. Now, the reason they were made of steel, they have actually a date, 1943. I'm going to show you them up close so you can see. 1943. It's made of steel. Zinc-coated steel. Now, just take a look at this. This is really, really interesting. This is a refrigerator magnet. Now, watch this. Try to do that with any other penny. Now, the reason they made these out of steel, of course, 1943, this country was smack in the middle of the biggest war in human history. And there was a copper shortage. You know, copper is used to make war materials and weapons. So the Treasury Department ordered that pennies should be struck out of steel and coated with zinc. And, you know, this is really an interesting story. It said, the mint, I think, said that there were no copper pennies officially struck in 1943. There's stories that there are some out there, one was struck. I don't know if this is true or not or whatever, but if you can find one, it's probably going to be worth who knows how much. But as far as I know, I mean, the mint stated that no copper pennies were officially struck in 1943. So I have 3 of these. I'll show you the other 2. Okay, so I'm going to move further along. Now, the pennies that were minted before the wheat cents were very popular. They were called the Indian head cents. I'm going to go through some of these. These were actually the first coins that I purchased. They were called a starter set. I got my first 10, and I still have them. I'm going to go through some of them right now. I just find the design of these just beautiful. I wanted to make a point also. You know, some people like coins that are uncirculated. Of course, they're much more valuable. But I actually like coins that show a little bit wear and show that they've been through circulation. I don't know, they kind of have like a character, like a flavor to them. They kind of tell a story about history just by looking at them and see what they've been through, looking at, you know, the scratches and the scars that they possess, just wondering, you know, where they passed and where they went through, and they just tell a story. To me, it's a coin that has character when I see a coin that has wear on it. So I like these type of coins. Here's another one. It's in 1897. This coin is really interesting. For a long time, I just don't know what this thing is about. There's a line that just goes right through it. This could be an error that happened. They called them error coins, I think. This may have happened during the time when it was struck. Really interesting. You look at this thing that goes all the way through. It's like looks like a that went through it. I just don't know what this is. Never really was able to find out. But it's interesting. Alright, move along, some other ones. I just wanted to say I just love the design of this coin. I mean, you know, you have the Indian head there, the Indian. You know, this country has history of, you know, very first inhabitants of this country were Native Americans. It really tells a story. these people were actually honored because they were put on coins, so there's a lot of history involved with all this. But, and then on the other side you see the shield and the wreath. It's just a beautiful design. It just tells a story, That's what's great about coin collecting. If you like history, it really coincides with it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the coin that was minted before the Indian head cent, and that was the Flying Eagle cent. This coin was only minted for 3 years. It was minted from 1856 to 1858. And, I actually thought it was a pretty nice design. I liked it. It was pretty interesting to see a flying eagle on a coin. So that's the Flying Eagle cent. Right there. 1858. Now, this was actually the first coin that was shrunk down to size to what we see today, the penny that we see today. Before this, they had something called a large cent. I'm going to show you what these look like. I'll take one out here. Just to give you an idea how large these things are. No wonder they call them large cents. Here's a penny of today. Look at the size difference. And of course, you're talking about a chunk of copper right here. This was nearly 100% copper. I think about 95% copper. And it's a beautiful coin. I mean, just look at this. Really, really nice. Stars, the Liberty head. Here's the reverse. Really nice coin. Happen to like large cents. The designs that they had and just the sheer beauty of the coin itself. This one is much more worn condition. It's in 1803. And last but not least, fascinating coin. This is actually a half cent. It's called a cent. A half cent. Give you an idea how big this thing. Imagine it's called a half cent, and look at the size of the modern cent that we have today. In comparison. Very, very decorative piece. I just happen to really like the design. Very decorative, like a work of art. The large cent and half cent were minted from 1793 to 1857, so they were minted for quite a long time before they moved on to the cent of the size of what we know today. So that's part one in a series of my coin collection. Stay tuned for part two, and thank you for tuning in.